But today, I want to talk about a very sensitive subject, and that's why, again, before I even start talking about it, this is a sensitive and deep subject. Some of you may get triggered with this. Just be calm. It's okay if you get triggered, because whenever all of us get triggered, it just means that we have something that we need to heal within us. I don't know most of you in this. Some of you are fans. I know some of you, personally. Some of you I don't know. I know y'all over the years. So you need to understand that you just got to listen to understand. Make your notes. More important than that, if it sits well with you, take the necessary action. It's not uncommon for us to come across patients every day who are sick with cancer, multiple sclerosis, diseases, diabetes, whatever it is. While many of these diseases can be caused by poor lifestyle, a lot of these diseases are caused because of emotional distress that people are carrying with them. It's a known scientific fact today. Top cardiologists from around the world, neurologists talk about the impact of stress on every single disease as the root cause of the disease, as being accompanied with other poor lifestyle changes. Today, I want to get into something that we see all the time, because we've been asking patients about this all the time. Your relationship with your parents will have an impact on you throughout your life. Of course, there are things that you can do about it. So it's not the final verdict on the whole thing, but we can't ignore it. If we are looking at healing and recovering, there are some people who look at quick fixes to heal because they just want to feel better immediately. They don't want to do the work, and they keep having their conditions over and over again. They keep having to take pills over and over again. And there are some people who will need the medicine as a crutch to help them at that particular point with a condition, with disease, with a pain. But as they start to address the root cause of why they're sick, why they have a psychosomatic disorder, why they have these unexplained fibromyalgias, these unexplained pains, these nerve pains, all of this stuff. They start to make changes in their lifestyle, and you find everything starting to get better. The father-son relationship and the mother-daughter relationship. Sometimes it could also be the father-daughter relationship and the mother-son relationship. If these relationships are affected, it affects you as a child, who may now be a teenager, who will soon be a young adult, who may soon be a father or a mother, who may soon become a senior citizen. One of my oldest patients, my oldest patient is 101 years old. I have a 92-year-old man who served in the Indian Army. And when I met him, he had a condition. He had a lung condition, pretty serious. We were talking. And for the first time in my life, I was in a very awkward position where this 92-year-old man burst out crying. A general in the army, served during the British time, and strong man, tall man, all of that stuff. I didn't know how to handle it, so I did what I felt I should do at that particular point. I just put my arm around him and I listened. I just listened to what he had to say. At 92 years old, he was still craving the approval of his dead father. All his life, he had looked at just getting the approval of his father. His father tried to make him a very tough man, and I'm not here. Everything I say today is not to judge parents, not to judge fathers and mothers. We have to learn from things. His childhood was a very strict childhood. He felt safe as a child, but his father's way of showing love was only through discipline, which is probably the reason he joined the army. But as he started to grow up, he was an angry young man. He was angry in the army as well, and he finally found out that he was just craving his father's approval, for his father to say once that, "Son, I'm proud of you. Son, I love you." At 92 years old, that was the only craving he still had in his life. I started off with that story to show you that we think that as we get mature and as we age, it will change. But what your soul needs will never change unless you get it. You could be a mom, you can be a dad, you can be a child. In today's society that tends to make everyone weak emotionally and emotionally fragile, we're taught, oh, you'll grow up, you'll grow out of this, everything will be fine. What the human soul needs has to be fulfilled. If it's not fulfilled by your parents, it'll be fulfilled by someone else. So he was an admiral in the army. He told me that all his life he became a people pleaser, just looking for approval from his seniors, from his bosses, from his colleagues. He got into some bitter relationships because all he did was trying to get approval using a sense of control. And he explained his whole journey. Now, what we need to understand today, parents will never be perfect. There can never be a perfect parent because no one goes to parent school. No one goes to parent university. No parent learns how to be a great parent. We have certain guidelines, we have all of these things, and then today, of course, you have the whole dump of social media that has more opinions and everyone telling people how to parent their kids and do all of that stuff. Some of it is great and some of it is just absolutely weakening at every level. The point that I'm trying to make is, I'm not here to give you advice on how to become a parent. Whatever mistakes a parent has made, and if there is a parent out there listening today, there are children who have grown up being molested by uncles, by aunts, by a driver, and when they went to their parents told them to cover it up. This anger that grows into a child as they grow up, knowing that their parents knew about it but did nothing about it, becomes their suffering. It affects them, it affects the relationships that they get into, it affects their kids when they have kids, it affects their relationships, work, and everything. That's suppressed and repressed anger because the parent knew about it but didn't do anything about it. That's an example. Or you have a parent who slapped the child around, abused them physically, beat them up, told them don't speak unless you're spoken to, I'm the boss, you can't express your emotions, be a man, be a girl, be nice to everyone. And the child grew up thinking this is the right way until we get maturity and we realize that, hey, now I'm becoming a people pleaser. Now I'm taking crap from everyone. I'm allowing myself to be abused by my boyfriends, by my girlfriends, to be walked over because I just thought that was the right way to do it. Your parents did what they did. We'll never know the reason why. They'll have reasons. But at this particular point, what does the parent do if they have messed up some part of the childhood or the complete childhood of the child? We're going to come to that. All right? We're going to come to that. In the meantime, let's break it down. Father-son relationship. What is a son looking from a father? From a father? Approval, validation, a sense of care and love. What is a daughter looking for from a mother? The same thing. And a daughter is also looking for the same thing from a father, and the son is looking for the same thing from a mother. This is not what I think is right. This is what every human needs. Let's break it down. Every human needs love or a sense of feeling loved, a sense of feeling belonging, that you have a sense like I belong to someone or I belong to this family or I belong to this friend group. And validation. I'm not talking about the social media type of validation. I'm talking about acknowledgement that, hey, I approve of you. Everyone is looking for that. When you're a child, and even now as an adult or as a 92-year-old man or a woman. Everyone is. Some people say, oh, I love my work. I work because I love my work. Yeah, but you love your work because it's coming down to any of these three things. Work either brings you money, which either brings you peace, joy, safety, a feeling of love. You can spend money on certain things. You can spend money and make your loved ones happy. It all comes down to that. You have a hobby. What does it come down to? It's keeping you engaged. You love it, but it's coming down to the feeling of love, joy, validation. You do something great, you get appreciation. Everyone works for appreciation. You appreciate someone and you can see how their attitude changes and how they work more. You keep demotivating someone, the opposite happens. Because every human, especially the one who says, oh, I don't need anyone to appreciate me, I don't need people to love me, are the ones who need it the most. Coming back to the father-son relationship. Of course, a child will make mistakes. And of course, every father and mother will have different ways of handling it. If you are disciplining your child, do it, but never by taking away these three fundamentals of love, approval, care, or safety. A child should never feel that I need to do things to win the love and approval of my parents. Never. That should be a given. A child should grow up knowing that no matter what happens, I'll have the love and approval of my parents. Yes, my parents may discipline me that, hey, this is not okay. Your behavior is wrong. I approve of you. I love you, but this is not okay. It's absolutely not okay. Look at all the families where the parents go on, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you so much to the kids. And when the kids misbehave and the kids do whatever and stuff like that, it completely changes. These three significance can never go back into a relationship where a wife or a husband or a girlfriend or a boyfriend is giving silent treatment to one another. What does it teach one another? Just to create more distance. It doesn't solve a problem because you are manipulating love, a sense of belonging, or safety. Someone did something wrong to you in a relationship, it doesn't fit into your value system, it broke your boundaries, your responsibility to take action. You want to stay, stay. You want to walk out, walk out. But the point is manipulating with these fundamentals. Like if you study well, okay, I'll love you. If you study well, you're amazing. If we show these behaviors every time, that every time only your son studies or your daughter studies and you go and hug them and shower them with love. No, you should be doing that all the time. Because otherwise you send them a message that, oh, only when I study, I get love. It becomes conditional. So if I have to ask all of you to do a little bit of homework and you go back to your childhood and see what is the thing or what are the things that you had to say or the things that you had to do to win the approval or love of your parents. Hopefully it'll be, hey, no, nothing. I was loved or approved anyway. And maybe some of you will find out that you had to be a good girl, a good boy, you had to speak in a particular way, not do this, not do that, to feel loved and approved. So this child grows up seeking more and more approval and love, which they're not getting from a parent. Where do you get it next? Because what the soul needs, it will search for outside of your family. You'll find it in drugs, you'll find it in the drug dealer, you'll find it in alcohol, you'll find it in people who have alcohol. These people may have vices, but if they're able to give your son or your daughter love, validation, and appreciation, guess what? That's exactly where they're going to move. And then people wonder, oh, I gave my son such a great childhood and gave him a great schooling and all of that stuff, but you didn't give him the fundamentals. He will go and she will go where it is. That's what happens in adult life as well. You take away the fundamentals of all of these in a relationship, the person's either going to get depressed because they're trying to stick with, I shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that, or they're going to find love, appreciation, and validation outside. Outside. But you look at a close relationship where each partner or a parent and a child is fulfilled with these things. They're not going to be the people seeking for this in social gatherings, constantly doing things that bring them validation, bring them attention, bring them ways of getting love. It's not uncommon for us to find out women who have gone into relationships over and over, been battered by men, abused physically, abused mentally and emotionally, and they don't leave these partners. They don't leave them. And when I ask them why, they say, Luke, it's okay, I'll take the beatings, but when my husband's not drunk, I feel love from him. They're so desperate for that little love that they're okay being abused. And it's the same thing with men. They're so okay being mentally or even physically abused in their relationships because they're like, I'll settle for it because then when she's in a good mood, I get a little bit of love. As we're growing up, we need to be fulfilled with these. These are the nutrients of the human soul. And that's why we need to look at it. Now, you may say that, hey, Luke, but what about a child born without parents or one parent or another parent? It doesn't matter. As long as that one parent is able to give the three fundamental ingredients to a child, the child is going to grow up as beautifully and maybe even better than a child who has both parents, but parents who are not emotionally invested in their child can give them iPads and gadgets and everything else, but not give them love, time, care, approval, and validation. Now, I know many parents may think, but Luke, that's the way I built my business. I'm tough and I want to make my son tough. I agree. I respect that. I absolutely respect that. But you can make them tough by also giving them love. You don't have to make it conditional that to win my love and approval, you need to be tough. It doesn't have to be that way. Because that only shows us one thing. We want to be in a position of power play, control. I'm the parent, so do what I tell you to do. I'm the husband, so do what I tell you to do. I'm the wife, do what I tell you to do. All of these things strip away approval, and I can't tell you how many people today are just waiting for that. I speak to so many patients, and we do this exercise of finally coming down to what is it that your heart is really looking for. First, people will say, I have this financial security, I want this, I want that, I want this. Finally, it comes down to a lack of love, a lack of feeling cared for, or a lack of approval, whether it's from a boss or from a parent. But today we're talking about parents. We're not talking about bosses. You may not get approval from a boss, But if you know you're in such a great relationship with your parents, your siblings, your partner, that you're approved, you just say, you won't give it significance. You won't give it significance. It's just a dumbass boss. But now if you're empty and you don't have this from your family and the people you should be getting it from, that approval from your boss becomes everything. You become a slave to that boss. You become a people pleaser to that boss because we're not fulfilled. If we send our children out into the world, or ourselves as adults out into the world, out into new relationships, feeling unfulfilled. You know how many relationships the wife is actually playing a mother role to the husband? Because that's what the husband never got and needs. Do you know how many relationships a husband is playing the father role or the daddy role for the wife? Because that's what the wife never got when she was a little girl or a teenager or a young girl. So we're playing and changing different roles. Now you tell me the outcome of a relationship, of a marriage, or a partnership, or whatever you want to call it. If you're not playing your role. If you're a wife, but you're playing the role of a mother. If you're a husband, but you're playing the role of a daddy. You know right now how the relationship is going to be. It may last, but you're still unfulfilled. What we need to understand is, now I'm coming to the solution. There is only one solution I've figured out for this. And I know it works because the people who did it, the absolute change that happened in the relationship following their physical health and mental health was nothing but miraculous. I'm talking about a simple, but difficult, but simple apology. If you are that parent today who has seen that, I messed up, I didn't do this right, you need to go and apologize to that son or daughter who may still be a little girl, a teenager, or the mother needs to do the same thing. Now, I know you might be saying, but my children are like this. We're not talking about the children and parents today. We're talking about the parents and children. Like I said, there's no ego involved. It's not your fault. A father will behave based on how he was treated by his father. And the mother, the same way. It comes down generation by generation. And to break this whole generational transfer of despair, of abuse, of whatever, someone needs to say, I'm sorry. Because when I talk to these children who are now children or adults, and I say, what's the one thing that you think can fix it between you and your parents? Let's say my parents will never understand it, this, whatever. And I asked them, if your parents said sorry, they said, Luke, they'll never say it. I said, but what if they did? I would feel at peace. I said, why would you feel at peace? Because if they say sorry at least once now, they're acknowledging that there was a mistake, and I will feel good about myself. I will feel validated. I will feel cared for. I will feel loved, because it takes a lot of strength to get that kind of an apology. Now, if this is what the person needs, this is what the person should get. Not another anxiety pill, not another antidepressant pill, not another nutraceutical. If the patient needs that, that's different. But why aren't we looking at what the victim or the patient really, really wants? The apology. Now, it's difficult, like I said. So easy for me to say that. It's difficult to do. Why? Let's break it down. Why is it so difficult for us to apologize? Why? I made my notes today. I wanted to be so clear about this. Number one is ego and self-image. We don't apologize if we have an ego or self-image because we feel that when we admit the fault, what's going to happen is it's going to threaten our self-esteem and the image we carry of ourselves. I'm this tough father. How can I see myself apologizing to my son, to my daughter? That's the ego. So we find it difficult to say sorry because we don't want to be seen as weak or that I failed. And that's why it triggers an immediate self-defense mechanism that, no, you want to apologize. I'll do anything, but I want to apologize. So some parents try to buy more fancy stuff, take them on holidays, do all of that, but they want an apology. They want communication. They want understanding. And some of the best fathers and mothers I've seen who have gone to their children and say, hey, we messed up and honestly, I'm sorry, whatever it is, but we're communicating our apology to you. What beautiful changes in their health for not just the son or the daughter, but even the parents. So that's one reason we don't do it. Second is the fear of vulnerability. What is vulnerability? It exposes us to It allows us to express our mistakes to people. But when we're vulnerable, and if I'm vulnerable to now go and apologize to someone about my mistakes, it can lead to potential rejection or criticism. So you don't do it. If I come and say, hey, I was a bad dad, I shouldn't have hit you, I shouldn't have said you're useless, I shouldn't have said this, I shouldn't have compared you to your friends. There are two ways that I'm afraid you may react. Either you reject me, or either I'm going to get a lot of criticism. But that's what comes with an apology. So most people don't apologize because they're afraid of being rejected or being criticized. But if you can take these two things, because time will heal it, you can save that physical and mental problems that are happening in that particular child. So that's one. The next one are cultural norms. Depending on where you are in the world, some cultures don't believe in admitting faults because they think it's like a power play. I'm the dad, I'm the mom, you're a kid, that's your place. They just don't believe in it. But that's why I'm asking you, that's why I'm doing this video today, to make you understand that a simple apology can. So sometimes you got to look, what's stopping me from saying sorry? I always say every human being has a perfect truth and a lie. Right now, if you're a parent, you're an individual or whatever, or you're a child watching this, you already know what your mistakes are. So my question to you is, what's stopping you from apologizing if you know you've made a mistake? Of course, I understand your fears are genuine. I've lied so many times to avoid conflict. I've lied so many times because I want to keep the peace. I've lied so many times because I'm fearful of being rejected or being criticized. We all do it. But the point is to understand when it comes to a situation of a father-son relationship, mother-daughter, or inter-family relationship, if you need to give an apology, I can promise you it is the most healing thing that you will do for your child. Your worry may be genuine. What if my child just stops talking to me? At least they're talking to me a little bit now, even though it's strained. It's okay. That's the sacrifice you make. They'll be angry for a while, but most kids will come back to their parents. Because most kids out there today who are grown-ups and looking after their parents are just doing it out of that whole respect, even though they've gone through hell. Just, it's my parents, it's my value system, I need to look after them. It's not coming from their heart. But the whole point is, so sometimes our societies come in, our cultural differences. The other reason we may do it is because we want to avoid confrontation. We may want to avoid conflict because we think that everything's okay now. If I apologize, maybe it'll get worse. If I express my faults, maybe it'll get worse. Of course, those are genuine fears, but you will heal your child who may, like I said, may not be a child anymore, maybe a young adult. I see so many sons suffering because they're just wanting the approval. They come to me and I know they don't need a diet plan. They don't need a diet plan. They need this relationship to be healed. Now, what happens if your father's dead? This is for the kids or the adults listening. That's when you have to make peace with it. If you're struggling on your own, you speak to a counselor, you speak to a friend, you speak to your mom, you express everything. It's so important not to keep it in you. You express it. Express it. It is so important. Parents, we need to understand this. And that's why sometimes, many of you would say that, oh, I don't think I fall in this category. Speak to your kids. Ask them. We do 360 degrees in corporates, right? That you give me feedback, I give you feedback. Ever walked up to your child and asked them questions like, hey, how's everything going? Have I been a good dad to you? Have I been a good mom? We don't do this because we're afraid of what they may say. And children are so scared that they'll just say the things they want them. But as they start maturing, hey, listen, maybe I did this that you didn't like. You need to open up conversation for them to share. That is the real meaning of family. Today, families become mostly transaction. Parents' job, put the kids in school, university, this, that, all of that stuff. But real family is when you can have real communication. Like I said, it's not easy, it's difficult. But I can tell you from experience of my own patients, when these relationships heal, everything changes. Every single thing changes. And if some of you out there are listening to this and you've gone through that, I would love for you to share it in the comments. If you have a personal story, because that's going to inspire so many people that, hey, this really works. So sometimes look at your relationship. Approval from your father, approval from your mother. What did you have to do? Have conversations. Now, if you're a child listening to this, or a young teenager, or young adult, and you realize that, yeah, What Luke is saying is absolutely right, but your parents are not coming forward. You go forward. You may say, but they're old now, but they're going to die, but this, I'll leave it. It's okay. I'm mature. Hey, but you're still hurting inside. It's going to become a bigger and bigger problem for you unless it's addressed. You can only put an X amount of Band-Aids on wounds. After that, it's still going to fester if you don't address the root cause of it. So what's the best way of doing it? Going and abuse your parents and say, hey, you did this to me. I'm like this because of this and this and this. You spoiled my life. You did all of that. No, that's emotional instability. You got to be emotionally stable through this. Hey, Dad, I want to talk to you. Hey, Mom, I want to talk to you. This is how I felt when you did this. You may have your reasons, but I just wanted to express and tell you how I feel. Don't go in with an expectation. Go in with a thought process to express your authentic self. When hurt comes out of you, healing automatically starts. Automatically starts. But you go in with an expectation, maybe your dad will say nothing, he'll have a strict face, and your mom will say, oh, I didn't do that, oh no, this is the way we did it and stuff. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. But you express. You take personal responsibility and go. Because you'll find ways, like your parents, to avoid conflict, avoid being vulnerable, wonder, will my parents get angry? Will their BP go up? That's the most common thing I get from my patients. Oh, but Luke, if I tell my mom, she already has BP will go up. Let the BP go up. Maybe after this whole exercise, it'll finally sort itself out. But the point that I'm trying to make before I end this right now is wherever you are in the world, whatever condition you have, a disease, you're struggling, whatever it is, you got a diet, you got your medicines, you're working out in the gym, great. Please go back to your relationship with your parents. And if there is healing required, great. After listening to this, if you find you're in the bucket that, thank God I'm not in that bucket. I got approval and love from my parents. Right now, you go and you thank your parents and tell them, appreciate them, because you know that there are so many people who have got it wrong and they're suffering today. So you could be in any bucket, but finally comes down to personal responsibility. And if you're finding it difficult, take the help of someone who can help you start this communication. It's become very common for people to come together as families with a counselor and sort out all the issues, because if it's just family, sometimes it becomes emotions. But go back to your hurt. Go back to your behaviors in relationships. Women behave in relationships and men behave in relationships based on how their father and mother brought them up. It's as simple as that. And what you got and what you didn't get. There are some people craving love. You call them insecure in a relationship, always jealous, always finding out where you're going, who you're talking to. They're so insecure because they never felt safe when they were young children. But a very secure kid will never feel insecure in a relationship unless there's a reason to. Or you're always needy of love in a relationship that you suffocate the other partner. Where's that coming from? Because you didn't get it when you were a child. Or you're always constantly seeking validation. You didn't appreciate me today. You're constantly dressing up to get appreciation from everyone, validation from everyone. It's because you're empty. You didn't get that fulfillment from the people who matter, that are your parents. And when that happens, everything changes. So this talk was not about a diet plan. It was really about fulfilling what the human soul needs, and every human being needs this. When you look at the beautiful stories and the case studies of psychotherapy documents of prisoners in jail, most of it comes down to crimes being committed because of a lack of love, a lack of validation or approval, horrible father-son relationships, horrible mother and daughter relationships. We can fix it if we can. It's just going to result in us bringing down that ego, being vulnerable, being strong enough to face what comes, whatever it is. It's going to come at some point, either in disease or either in healing. Have a great evening, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, breathe deep, and remember, you care is all about you.